Hello everyone. It's so wonderful to connect with you all once again after a very long time. At the outset, my heartfelt gratitude to AKS for honoring me with the Global Teachers Award 2020. My love and gratitude also to my students who studied passionately and made it big. As the saying goes, history repeats itself endlessly. No doubt, many of you watching this video right now may be the toppers of tomorrow. Keeping up my spirits to help you out to achieve a super score in your Standard 10 English CBSE examination, I'm here with some awesome tips to help you out with analytical paragraph writing. Now, analytical paragraph writing is a very important skill because it tests your ability to analyze and think critically. I'm sure many of you know that critical thinking is one of the most important 21st century skill required in the present times. And it's great that you're learning it so early in life, because if you wish to excel in examinations of high repute like GRE, TOEFL or IELTS, this is going to be one of your writing skills, and if you master it now, you are going to definitely have an edge in future too. So let's get started. And hey, before we start, check out this question. Why should one learn writing analytical paragraph? It's a really important question, and the answer lies in these three strong reasons. It develops your high order thinking skills, develops your proficiency in written communication, and when you write an analytical paragraph, a complex data appears simple and meaningful. Let us see how you are going to be tested in your examination. As per the rationalized curriculum of 2020-21, it's going to be part of your subjective paper, appearing in part B as question number 9. The question will be worded as: write an analytical paragraph based on a given outline, data, chart or cues. The best thing here is it's a choice-based question. You're going to answer only 1 out of 2 questions. The word limit is only 100 to 120 words. Marks allocated are 5 marks, which are for content, fluency and accuracy. Now, as we proceed, it is very important for you to understand what the word data is. The word data is the plural of the word datum. It refers to the information that has been collected from an experiment, a survey, historical records, etc. When data is collected, it is absolutely in a raw form and doesn't make any sense until it is systematically processed and arranged in a table or a graph. For example, if data is collected about the incomes of 1 million people, do you think anyone would be interested to read 1 million pieces of data? And even if they did, they wouldn't be able to glean any useful information from it. On the other hand, if the income of 1 million people is gathered, analyzed and arranged into different income groups in a table, it will give a bird's eye view of the entire data of 1 million people in one simple table. Hence, it makes more sense. Now, let us look at the different kinds of data presentations. Data is presented in the form of outlines, charts, tabular form data and cues. And in today's class, let us focus on each one of them one by one. To begin with the outlines. An outline refers to main points, sub-points or ideas about a topic. Visually, outlines can be represented as flowcharts or as mind maps. Do you think they are the same thing? No, they aren't. Flowchart is used to show the separate steps of a process, especially in a sequential order. The connections in a flowchart follow a certain order or hierarchy, whereas a mind map is just a simple way to graphically represent ideas and concepts through keywords, covering the topics and subtopics. Let us look at some examples to understand them better. Here is an example for a flowchart. You can see this is the human circulatory system. And here you can see a main topic. Emerging from the main topic, you can see the subtopics and the subtopics further branching into further subtopics. Such a kind of a representation is called a mind map. As we are done with the outlines, let's proceed with charts. Now, charts are visual representations. They are comparatively more organized. Examples of charts are pie charts, line graphs, bar graphs, and double bar graphs. Let us look at each one of them one by one to understand them better. To begin with the first one, any guesses of what this is? Yes, it's a pie chart. A pie chart is a type of a graph that represents the data in a circular graph. The 360-degree space is divided into slices, arcs of different percentages. So the slices of the pie correspond to the relative size of the data. And what each slice stands for may be written inside the slice or might be presented in a separate key. To study the pie charts, firstly one needs to find the topic or subject of the pie chart. For example, here the subject of the pie chart is major world religious groups. After that, look at the picture, observe the slices of the pie and compare them with the key. Observe all the variables and the numerical values, that is the percentages associated with each slice of the pie. Also, simultaneously look for the smallest and the largest slice. Which slice do you think here is the largest one? I think it's the blue one standing at 32%, representing Christianity. And which one do you think is the smallest pie here? Yes, you are right. It's the yellow colored slice standing at 7%, representing Buddhism. Now, let us look at this one. Any guesses of what this is? Yes, you're right. This is a line graph. A line graph is a type of a chart used to show information that changes over time. As you can see in the picture, there are several points connected by straight lines in a line graph. In a line graph, you first need to identify the title of the graph as it's given here. You can see the title is clearly given on top. Then it is very important to look at the x-axis, that is the horizontal axis, which gives you a very clear idea about the names of the things which are compared. Then look at the y-axis, that is the vertical axis. It has numbers to show how these quantities are measured. Students, a very important thing in a line graph is to identify the trend. These trends are important in real life because they help us to make predictions. Let us now understand what is a trend. A trend refers to the pattern, say whether the trend is increasing or decreasing. It's called a linear trend. Here you can see in this picture, it's steeply increasing. And then you have graphs which are decreasing. Now they are linear graphs. In some rare cases, you will not find any trend where the points are all scattered, but mostly you will find a trend. And when you find a trend, you will have to describe these trends using specific and appropriate vocabulary, which I'll be discussing in the second part of the video. Let us move ahead. Can you guess what kind of a graph is this? Yes, you're right. It's a bar graph. A bar graph is used to compare things between different groups or to track changes over time. To study this graph, follow the same steps that I mentioned for a line graph. Read the title of the graph, observe the vertical and the horizontal axis, compare by looking for the highest and the lowest quantities. Follow the same steps no matter what kind of bar graph it is. You may have a double bar graph, multiple bar graph, or a horizontal bar graph, but it follows the same. Also, you can look for a trend, not just in a line graph, but also in a bar graph. At times, you can identify a trend. Yes, you can see a double bar graph here, and here it's a multiple bar graph. Horizontal bar graphs. So whatever kind of graph it is, you need to study it in the same manner. Let us move ahead with the third category, that is data, which is represented in the form of tables. In a table, the data is presented in a systematic and logical arrangement, which is in the form of rows and columns. To study a data, we need to observe its different components like the title, which is also referred to as the head note. Just like the head note, you'll also find a footnote which provides an extra information about the table or about the source. So read the title and after that move to the table. Look at the headings now, the column headings on top. The first column is always used to indicate the titles and the first rows are also always used to indicate the titles in the same way. So the columns may refer to different categories and the pink part here refers to the body. The body contains the numerical values which are used for comparison. Moving ahead, yes, here I have an example of a very good table. Please identify the different components from this table. I'm sure you can identify the title, the column headings, the row headings, and the different values, the highest, lowest, and the values which are staying constant. After moving ahead, a cue is nothing but a writing prompt which provides a potential topic or a starting point for a paragraph, article, or an essay. Sometimes even an image can be, like a poster, can be a cue for writing. As per your paper pattern, you will get an excerpt from a source, maybe from a magazine or any other source. So what happens when you get a cue? Like you can see here, this is an example of a cue which is taken from a magazine. So the moment you read a cue, it exposes your thinking on a specific topic. Your mind gets triggered to think about the related content and that you are aware of, and you start interpreting it based on your awareness of the topic which is in question. And on a very close observation, you will find that these cues are actually raising an issue, a question, and you need to respond to it. So firstly, identify or circle the keywords given in the cue. This will help you a lot. Look at the keywords. Now prepare a brief outline of points connecting the important keywords with the most closely connected subtopics. But take care to begin your answer by Stating clearly your stand on the topic and express your opinion with logical reasons to back up what you are saying. For a controversial prompt, you can take an intermediate stand and express both sides of your opinion and conclude by arriving at some consensus. So here we come to an end of the video. Hope watching this video was worth your time. Do share the video with your friends and students of Standard 10 as a gesture of goodwill. Do connect again for watching part 2, where format, vocabulary to be used and special tips for writing analytical paragraph will be discussed. Thank you and happy learning.